Welcome back. We still have the doctor on the stand giving some testimony about tool mark analysis and that why he chose not to do it, because that's the job of law enforcement. Let's jump right into court to listen to the testimony. So, sidebar, so we bring it back out to give you expert legal analysis. I'm joined here in studio with a good friend and mentor of mine, Adam Heyman. Adam, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Good to see you,
Always
Brian.
a pleasure. So, I mean, we've talked about this over the phone. We talked about it in person. Just give us a general overview of what you see in this case.
I think this is damning testimony right here. This is just adding insult to injury in a way. We have confession to a girlfriend. We have the co-defendant testifying. We were just talking off air a few minutes ago. What is Jimmy Rodgers going to argue in this case? Is he going to argue, I went along with my buddy, I thought I was just helping out, had no idea that there was a murder? It's going to be very interesting to see what they do here, because as I see this, co-defendant, cooperator, confession to his girlfriend, physical evidence, and now this medical evidence is just damning.
I mean, it's a poor choice of words. I get it, but every one of these witnesses seems to be one more nail that's getting hammered in to the coffin, and just nail after nail after nail. I mean, I'm not seeing a lot from the cross-examination to try to weave through some sort of narrative or something to be like, hey, the girlfriend's lying or she's scared, and so it wasn't really him. He's just a fall man. He's the stooge. I mean, we've been calling, Joseph and I have been joking. He's like the three stooges. We're saying Curtis is Larry, Jimmy is Curly, and Mark is Mo, because all the stupidity that goes along this. But I'm not seeing a defense yet. Can you think of one?
I think what I would say is something along the lines of what we were just talking about. We're not arguing that Curtis did this. We're not arguing with the physical evidence. Jimmy went along with this, had no idea that there was a murder. I talked to my girlfriend about it afterwards. That's why there's physical evidence of me there. But I didn't do this. I had no idea my buddy was going to do this with me. And they're trying to throw me under the bus so that the co-defendant can get 25 years instead of life.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out. They're out of the sidebar. Let's jump right into court to see what's going on. Very interesting. Joseph Scott Morgan, I want you to jump in because this gentleman is testifying to something in your field of expertise. Two-part question. What do you make of his testimony? Is it factual? Is it good? Is it tight? And then three, is the defense attorney really making any traction here? I feel like he didn't do his homework today.
Well, I got to tell you, as far as the forensic pathologist goes, yes, I like that word tight. You know, it's a very tight testimony, and he's being open about everything. This is, I think a lot of people assume that us in the medical legal field are either pro-cop or pro-prosecution, pro-defense. We're neither. We just try to present the scientific fact, and that's what he's doing. He's rendering an opinion as an expert in this particular case, and I like what he said, and he put in the caveat that he's not a behavioral scientist. And so many of us, I can go into a classroom at Jacksonville State and I can teach my students about overkill and passion killing and all this sort of thing, but that's not going to wash on the stand. I'm not a forensic psychologist. He's not either. He recognizes that. As far as the defense goes, I think what he's trying to get at, and we'll see this as he goes along, he's trying to come up with a timeline, or he's going to try to talk about who wielded this fatal blow. I think that's what he's looking for here.
It appears the state has no more witnesses. I'm assuming they're going to arrest eventually, and the defense will get a chance to put on their case. Matt Mangino joins us via Skype. Matt, what did you make of the cross-examination, the direct and the recross and redirect of this witness?
Well, the cross-examination was very brief, and that's what I expected. You certainly don't want to have the jury listen to this very graphic testimony all over again, which certainly doesn't endear the defendant to the jury. What I thought was interesting about the cross-examination, though, it appeared that the defense counsel was trying to paint a picture that, hey, this was a crime of passion. This victim was beaten brutally with a hammer, and that's typically done by someone who is enraged, not a hitman necessarily, and that this is also at times a crime of opportunity. Whatever object is around, a hammer, a pipe, a ball bat, is used to pummel someone that you have some animosity toward. And that's not typically the way a hit is carried out. And the person who's being tried here is someone who's is suggested to be a hired hitman to carry out the murder of Dr. Sievers.
I mean, if you believe the testimony, Adam Heyman, Curtis Wainwright Jr. hits the decedent, Teresa Sievers, 3 times in the head. So that means, simple math, Jimmy Ray Rodgers hits her 14 times in the head. He's got no horse in the race. Why is he going so hard?
You know, it's really problematic here. I think he can go down via felony murder, even if it's a crime of passion, as we're talking about. It still could get the death penalty as well. He has problems, and what will be interesting to see is whether or not he testifies. Perhaps he gets on the stand, perhaps he tells a story, and what they're doing with the testimony and the cross-examination is lining up the blame on Curtis.
Joseph Scott Morgan, we asked this question a number of times as to whether or not this evidence can help mitigate for Jimmy Ray Rodgers, but I didn't really hear that dive into the testimony from the defense. It seems like they kind of just left this witness to say what he wanted to say, and it was very, very strong, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think that any mitigation took place. For the defense, the best service they could do for their client is just clear this out and get him off the stand as quickly as possible, because he serves no purpose for them. As a matter of fact, every second he stays up there reminds the jury how brutal this crime was. The guy that testified, that struck the deal, he's already paid the piper. The guy that's sitting at their table, his life is on the line. Get this guy off the stand. The jury is going to see that. He's going to continue the physician continues to remind them of the brutality.
Now, we've got plenty of time left here. The prosecution says they have no witnesses, but there's plenty going on in the trial. So for you to see it, blow by blow, gavel to gavel coverage, you got to return after this break.